I know a couple of weeks ago I said that there would only be 10 episodes of Freak Like Tea. But I lied to you, I'm sorry. I'm back with season 2. I'm also back in London in my own room, and I couldn't be happier to be back here. In case you're wondering, I have a lot of rock and metal memorabilia. But there's a lot more behind you as well that you can't see. So I'm in my element now. My guests today are a brand new band called Just a Ride. They've just released their first single titled I Wanna Know. If you're a fan of Stone Temple Pilots or Velvet Revolver, then this is a band you'll definitely want to listen to. It's so good, it's so in your face. So today I've spoken to Drew and Rod from Just a Ride. Also, once you finish listening to this, make sure to follow me on Instagram and Facebook. Instagram is at freakjazz666. Twitter, it's freakmag666. And it's just Freak Magazine on Facebook. Don't forget to also like and subscribe to my channel, please.
Sake.
How are you doing?
Yeah, good, thank you very much. How are you?
Not too bad. I've just been telling Rodney that I'm back in London for the first time after 12 weeks.
Oh, really?
And it's so different to when I was last here. Like, I went food shopping for the first time in 12 weeks and did not see the queue outside Asda and got told off.
Oh, no.
In front of everyone.
Is it busy?
Yeah, it's like outside the train stations are dead, but the outside areas are a lot busier. Whereabouts are you guys based at the moment?
I used to live in London, but I moved back to Hampshire. I'm from a town called Andover, which is about an hour outside. Just out of Waterloo, really. It's about an hour outside of that. It's my hometown, really. I just lived in London for a while.
Yeah, I used to live in South East London up until November last year, but I moved up to Nottingham.
Okay.
So, in Nottingham, it's funny because prior to Corona, like my day job, I'd work in London and I'd be back in Nottingham for the weekends and whatever.
Okay.
And what was really strange is like at the beginning, everyone was really panicking in London, and you'd come back to Nottingham and no difference at all. So you just felt like it was about 10 days behind. Drew, how have you got your? Is it just because I'm looking at myself that I'm seeing my T-shirt in mirror?
No, you can change it. You can zoom's quite good.
Or did you guys see it as?
Yours is normal. Mine's backwards to me.
Yeah, I made it. I can read such a but
you got a good Maiden T-shirt. I've got Book of Souls T-shirt. I was going to.
Same. I've got so many T-shirts.
Yeah, they're Maiden T-shirts.
Yeah, they're good though because you can own thousands of Maiden shirts and no design will be the same.
Yeah. They're brilliant. I've seen them like 3 times.
Same.
Awesome.
There we go. Sorted.
I saw them. Same. I saw them first on their Final Frontier tour. I think I was about 12.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And then I saw them Book of Souls and then Legacy of the Beast.
Yeah. I think I first saw them on like Dance to the Death tour.
Okay.
Like years ago. It was like 2003 or something. I was like.
What year did they do Brave New World tour?
That was like 1999.
Yeah, that's when I saw them.
And that's when they kind of came back.
When Dickinson came back.
The
Wicker Man.
Not just Dickinson, Adrian Smith came back.
Yeah, true.
I would have only been 2 at that point.
When?
Yeah.
I would have been 2 in 1999. My first gig was Bon Jovi when I was 9.
Good quality gig, that.
Yeah, it was.
I've seen them a couple of times.
Yeah.
Quality, man.
Don't think I'd see them again now. Like, I've seen them 3 times. I wouldn't see them without Richie, I think.
Lost their kind of key guitarist.
Also, like, their newest material is a little bit like too poppy for me, I think. Anything after Lost Highway. Lost Highway was fine, because I still like a bit of country rock. But...
What was the single on Lost? I'm trying to think. Do you remember the record that was it Bounce? I think that was the one right.
Yeah, I saw him at that.
Oh, no, actually, Have a Nice Day. Have a Nice Day. That was the last one that I bought and listened to.
It's a good album.
It still comes out. That tune still comes up on my playlist every so often.
Great song. They had a country hit, didn't they, off of that? And they had That's why Who Says You Can't Go Home was on that, and then they were like, "Oh, we can make £1 million," and then they went and did a country album, which, in fairness, went to number 1 in the country charts. So it was like, well, pretty smart. That's weird because like I'm a bit of a fan, so I kind of ended up when I started guitar and I was a kid. I've got an older brother, so it was all just like Bon Jovi, and there's an album called New Jersey, which is really good. It's got like loads of hits on it, like Bad Medicine.
Yeah,
and then. They're the only band, when you really think about it, the only band from the 80s to not only survive, but thrive.
Mm.
Yeah, and just go through.
Yeah, like, as much as I love Maiden, they had a bit of a, and a lot of these bands, like Motley Crue and stuff, the 90s and the grunge and stuff. I think Aerosmith did okay, actually. I think Aerosmith survived. They sort of had some hits like They Don't Want to Miss a Thing and all that kind of stuff. But Bon Jovi, like, they just kept doing that. Yeah.
Do you know why that is, though? It's because people like my mum, middle-aged woman, are still, like, obsessed with them. It's middle-aged women, I think, that are keeping Bon Jovi alive.
That's what it's about, isn't it? Like, you grow with your audience, don't you? You grow with
generations when you get to Bon Jovi.
But I will give it to him, like, when they released Crush, that was like a band releasing their first album.
Mm.
It was like a whole, wasn't it? Like, how amazing is that? It was like, I remember my friend going, and they were like playing songs, and kids are going, "Oh, what's this? I only know stuff off Crush." You're like, what? Like, It's My Life is like, It's My Life is the biggest selling single in Russia.
What an album opener that is.
Yeah, man.
That was actually, It's My Life was the first Bon Jovi song I ever heard. Like, when I was a kid, like, we used to have, right, I'm at that weird age where I remember cassettes. We used to have a cassette player in my mum's car. And being a kid, I was a little bit close-minded, so I would only ever play It's My Life. Just on repeat on the way to school. I don't know how my mum didn't murder me. But obviously since then...
Do you know what it was? It's because she had probably like a 90-second gap between plays because you had to be rewinding it.
Yeah.
Whereas now, like, kids, they want to listen to the same song again. Like, my daughter, she's 2, and she just like, I want to listen to this song, and it's just like, boom. She'll listen to like 90 seconds of it and then start it again, and you're just like, come on.
Because you don't appreciate it.
Sorry, if you don't mind me asking, how old's your mum, by the way?
My mum is 49.
Yeah, okay, so she would have been writing all of that, like the
glory days, mate.
Yeah, she would have been like writing all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, totally. Like in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s.
But like Bon Jovi is probably like the hardest my mum will go. Like she took me to see Take That once.
Nice.
And I wore an Iron Maiden shirt to it to make a statement.
You wore a Maiden shirt.
Sorry, it's just something that's kicked in my head. When you were like, my mum took me to see Take That, I was like, oh, right, you went to see Take That in the 90s? I'm like, no, you went when they reformed.
Yeah,
I preferred them when they reformed because...
they became the man band, you know?
They did.
Visually, they put on a phenomenal show. Like, I'll give them that. And like, this was just when Robbie had rejoined. So, and I knew all his solo stuff, so I was up dancing for all the Robbie stuff. But
Robbie stuff's great, yeah.
It is. Brilliant. I think it's a little bit harder than the Take That stuff. So I was like, I can enjoy this genuinely.
The first couple of records, to be fair, like Barry Barlow's a pretty decent writer. Like he writes pretty banging tunes. Like you know, I mean, you know, when you're young and you're kind of like getting into like I don't know whether it's rock music or punk music or metal, you're like, oh, I hate everything that isn't like this. But actually, when you get a bit older and you really appreciate, you know, good music, you know, you know, there's always this pushback like I hate anything that's poppy, and then you actually realise that actually there is skill and craft in writing, you know, a song that's just going to stick with you. And I mean, Gary Barlow's got a few of those.
Yeah, regardless of what genre, you know, it's a good song. It's a good song, isn't it? Yeah, you can't really. Just is what it is.
Do you know what my guilty pleasure is? I say guilty pleasure. I'll wear it on my sleeve. ABBA. ABBA are amazing.
That's not guilty pleasure.
Exactly.
I've got to have a gold in the car, my friend.
Yeah, like that is songwriting at its best.
Like they've never written a bad song.
Yeah,
well, there's that bit. Well, you know, all those kind of classic bands, isn't it? You know, the Bee Gees, they're another great one. I think there's that line in Wayne's World where it was like, I can't remember who it is. It's like you can't write songs that everybody loves. You have to leave that to the Bee Gees. You know, like. But it's true. There's so many great bands.
Do you have any guilty pleasures though, like musically?
Not really, because I'm sort of quite open about, like, everyone goes like, oh, Nickelback and stuff. I like Nickelback.
I love Nickelback.
Like, you know, but it's one of those bands that just get like loads of flack, and it's like, why? They're like one of the biggest selling acts of all. Like, they can't be that shit because they sell out arenas all around the world. You know.
Yeah. So I quite like my Kylie. Like Kylie's pretty up there. And I mean, I guess guilty pleasure is I'm really into Eurovision. Like, I love the Eurovision Song Contest. I have a few friends who they've been trying to get me to go, but the commitment you need to actually go to the contest and spend a week there. But like, I have friends who they basically save like 5,000 or 10,000 quid a year, and their holiday is they go to the Eurovision Song Contest and they just have a crazy party. The closest I've been to going was they did a televised 50th anniversary gig at, I think it was the Hammersmith Apollo, and it literally was like the best of the best. Apart from ABBA, there was Dana International. There was Laureen, who did Euphoria, and they even had the original winner of Eurovision. And Graham Norton was interviewing her, and she was so old, she had no idea what was going on. They tried 3 times, because it was all being recorded for television. They tried 3 times to do this interview, and in the end they just
no. That's so bad.
Yeah, but it was awesome. It was like Lordy were there, Conchita. It was.
Wow.
I mean,
You definitely.
Eurovision fan. It was heaven.
You definitely know your Eurovision stuff.
Like I said, I have a friend who he can listen to the first 10 seconds of a Eurovision song. He can tell you the year, the country, the artist, and where it placed.
That's commitment. Back to the Nickelback thing. I'm so annoyed with this. When I first saw Bon Jovi, Nickelback opened for them.
Yeah, I saw that gig. I was at Milton Keynes.
Yeah, at the time.
Did you watch Nickelback? Did you miss it?
Well,
no, I watched them.
I watched it, but at the time I didn't know who they were. Because I was
So that's all the right reasons to.
Yeah, I was 9 years old, and now that I'm really like Nickelback, I've seen Nickelback, but I was too young to remember it.
Oh, that's a shame.
So annoyed
What
with
was the
it.
disco tune they did?
They did
A
a disco
lot of people
tune.
played it, but I thought it was a pretty good song.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I love that all the reasons. Just an
Such a good
amazing
album.
record with like Photograph and all that on it.
Photograph's a big tune.
It's amazing. Like all that whole album. It's when they first got the new drummer in. My brother's a drummer, and he was just like, "Dude, check out this drummer." I was like, "Okay." We watched it, and it was like flipping out. Like,
Is he the Travis Barker of Middle of the Road Rock?
Yeah, he used to be in 3 Doors Down.
Okay.
That dude. He's a great drummer.
And then he sort of joined Nickelback, and then he just hopped through like Canadian bands. Like, he just got to like the best one, and then got to the biggest one.
Yeah.
Did Chad
Kroeger marry Avril Lavigne? Or am I?
Yeah.
Wow.
He did. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if I hallucinated that.
No, he did, and then don't think it works out, and then I think he wrote like loads of her albums. I can't remember. Like he's a great songwriter.
Do you know their latest album, Feed the Machine, right? Have you heard it?
No.
Because my wife does like Keep Fit class to it.
Okay. There's
a song called Coin for the Ferryman.
Yeah.
It's like the heaviest riff.
There's
it's amazing.
also a song on there called Song on Fire.
Yeah.
Now, I love like Nickelback's ballads, but that song I can't listen to because it's just got the cringiest lyrics to it.
Well, I remember when they sort of first came along, and they were massive with what was that song, Rod? They had
This is How You Remind Me.
Yeah, it was huge, but they were just kind of this middle of the road mixed in with like all these bands, and then when they released like Rockstar with All the Right Reasons, and they just
that was a great video as well.
They had already finished touring All the Right Reasons. They were only playing places like Shepherd's Bush. Say only, but you know, it like they were still kind of selling that, and then it suddenly went arena. It wasn't like anything between it.
It's crazy because it was like one of those tracks that was like the throwaway track on the record that ends up getting released and getting quite big, you know?
Well, it's always the way, isn't it? It's always like, oh, I don't want to put that on the ends up becoming like the biggest hit. And you're like, well,
it's like Slash from Guns N' Roses hates playing Sweet Child of Mine.
That's funny. It's just a bit of a joke when it's like a warm up or something.
Yeah. But again, it's one of their biggest songs.
Like one of the biggest songs ever written. You know?
Write a song you hate and it will become big.
That's why bands should never ever choose their songs that go on a record. Like, you know, and that's why it's gone that way. Unfortunately, A&R doesn't exist, and you're like, probably should do because
someone needs to protect us from ourselves.
But like, exactly that. Someone needs to kind of go, sort of hear the hits. You'll hear something from the outside perspective and go like, well, maybe you should put that song and then not that song.
Bands always bias the latest thing they've played because it's fresh and exciting and like you know. You're kind of always most proud of the last thing you did. It's always like evolving. You wanna test it out, but yeah, you know, sometimes you kind of don't appreciate the stuff that you've written already, you know, because a lot of the time, like when you're, you know, like that Nickelback tune is a great example, especially when you're reaching out into kind of different markets and you're reaching people for the first time. It's like they don't have that same, I guess, kind of prejudice that you have to your old material.
Right. So let's get into the main bulk of this interview.
Sorry.
So the main thing of what I've been doing during lockdown, I don't know if John's mentioned it, but as the avid wearer of the band shirts, now that bands can't tour, it's so important for fans to continue to support artists by buying band merchandise. So again, just going back to the conversation about what you guys were listening to growing up, what kind of things were you listening to and were you wearing sort of the band shirts growing up? Do you have any stories to go with them? Obviously, I see you're wearing band shirts now, so.
Probably the same as you, Drew. Probably from about 13. This is kind of the primary wear of T-shirts. Like, I pretty much 90% of my wardrobe is just band merchandise.
I don't really have as much as I used to. I got a lot of hand-me-downs from my brother.
They're even cooler now.
Yeah, like honestly, I wish I kept them. Like his lot, like his mates, used to just trade band T-shirts. Okay. I thought that was really cool. It's like they used to be, because one day my brother was like, I'd be like, "Where's that T-shirt gone?" And he'd be like, "Oh, he had like a Keep the Faith Bon Jovi tour T-shirt," and then he had and it was like swapped it for something, and that was the time for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, mate, but for me, tour T-shirts are like the ultimate. Like,
I love them. This is a tour T-shirt. This is my silver chair. And this is from a tour they did called Diorama, and actually they played Shepherd's Bush. All the dates were on the back. I love a good tour T-shirt. You know, I think it just documents. It's like people take ownership and pride. Like, I was there. You know, like we were just talking about a minute ago. Like, I was at, wherever it was, or it's about. It's almost like who can have the most weirdest, obscure, like you're like, whoa, shit, you were at that gig, or it's a talking point, and that's the great thing about it.
So yeah, I mean, like going back to kind of what you're asking about kind of what bands and all that. I mean, for me, I had a really weird one when I was first getting into music. Probably when I was like 10, 11, I was really into. I kind of grew up. It was the mid-90s then. And it was very much kind of the indie scene that was really big. So the first kind of bands I really got into were like Pulp, Suede, and then when Cooler Shaker came out, that was like a really big thing. And I always felt, and I still listen to Cooler Shaker now. I was actually really lucky. Another band I was in, our tour manager ended up looking after the dude Crispin Mills and works for Cooler Shaker, and there's all sorts of, I ended up finally getting to meet these guys and everything, but I always found Cooler Shaker were like kind of a little bit more rocky, and you can still hear that in their music. They were a little bit different, and I think from that kind of then started getting into kind of heavier rock music. It was kind of Korn was probably like one of the first kind of heavier bands.
Okay.
The album Follow the Leader, when that came out, and I think I benefited from back in the day, like not everyone had like Sky TV, so to get MTV, and I think a big video was Freak on a Leash, the one with the bullet going through, and that was like one of the first heavy songs that seemed to be on actual rotation, you know. And then from that, almost at the same time, I was into my punk as well. So you know, I was into you know, the kind of 70s punk that my parents would kind of listen to, but at the same time, it was, you know, the 90s punk. So obviously there was Offspring, there was Green Day, Blink-182 were coming out. And, you know, I know that in some parts of scenes and whatever, like metal and punk didn't really get on very well, but I was very much, you know, into the two genres. So, yeah, you know, and it just kind of went from there. That's probably why I'm so into Avenged Sevenfold, because when they kind of came out, they were very much kind of a mix of, you know, that kind of Cali punk and elements of, you know, heavier stuff. Literally, I think I've got 20 or 30 Avenged Sevenfold t-shirts. But the best ever band t-shirt, unfortunately, is in the wash. I will rep them. It's Rival Schools. They have the best logo. They're one of the best bands ever if you're into that kind of like post-hardcore. But their logo, I don't know if you've seen it. It's like it looks like two kids kind of running in a circle, and it's kind of gridded, kind of like lined out. But I was fortunate enough in a previous band to go on tour with those guys, and yeah, I literally must have gone through like 10 Rival Schools t-shirts.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Luckily, they reformed and I could order more.
Brilliant.
But I have got an original one from 2002, still alive. Just
there's one of my best mates. He's into a lot heavier music than I am. He's into I can't even name some of them, but he's got a t-shirt, right, and he wore it to one of my parties once. And some of my mates aren't into metal. Like, I'm the only metalhead in my main friendship group. But my mate Will, I invited him along to this, and he wore his most offensive band shirt he could find, and I can't remember for the life of me what band it was, but the front of it had a masturbating nun on it.
Wow.
And the back said, "Jesus is a cunt."
I was going to say, was it the Cradle of Filth, Jesus is a cunt t-shirt? That was
quite... Yeah, if you're going to antagonise
Cradle.
I was like to my mates, I was like, if you ever thought I was bad, not met this guy.
a friend of mine's the guitarist at Cradle of Filth.
Okay.
Really? Oh,
yeah. He's got a guy called Richard Shaw. He's only been in them, because they've had loads of members over the years and stuff.
Yeah.
Brilliant guitarist. And I met him when, a few years ago now. But he does a lot of teaching stuff and bits and bobs. But yeah, he's a brilliant guitarist. But I keep forgetting he's in them. I'm like, oh yeah, I think he wrote the last 2 or 3 records. He's been in the band for quite a while now.
Do you know what?
Loves it. You know, it's brilliant.
Do you know what spoiled the illusion of Cradle of Filth for me? Because like in the 90s, like Danny Filth was like on the cover of Kerrang a lot. You know, he has this image. And you know, like it's meant to shock you. It's you know, like me and you are huge Kiss fans, and it's kind of tapping into probably the same sort of shock that people had in the 70s when they saw Kiss. Yeah. And Kerrang did this like Cribs style thing. So it's like, you know, we go to a rock star's home, and they went to Danny Filth's house, and he lived in like the most normal, like semi-detached 3-bedroom house in Norwich, and you were like, what? I think Marilyn Manson lives in a dungeon, or like Trent Reznor. I think he bought Sharon Tate's house where she was murdered. You know, and you'd be like, oh, this is all like dark. And then he's on some like suburban, just like, you know, kind of gated estate, and you know, it's, oh yeah, here's my new Ford, Ford Focus outside. Like, what? I thought you were going to be like worshipping the beast or something. Bizarre. Yeah.
Normal fans, or like normal people who are into normal music, always seem to be so like disappointed when they find out that metal musicians are actually just normal people sometimes.
If anything, just more normal. Just that's I think because the outlet is being on stage. And it's a show, isn't it? It's that's the whole point. You know, they don't walk around like that in real life. Like, quite exhausting, I think. Yeah.
It's like I was staying with my uncles for the last 2 months during lockdown, and one of them's mainly into like hard house and trance, but I've gotten him into metal. Spend 2 months with me, I'll get you into metal. And I got him into Steel Panther and Slipknot. He loves Slipknot.
I missed them. I was going to go see him at the O2, but I missed them. I've seen him once, and that was on their first album tour.
Oh, shit.
Was that a long time ago?
No, it was at Reading. They played like when Reading Festival was an alternative rock festival. Not so much anymore.
I'd like to go and see Slipknot. I think for me though, I'd have to be sat down because I'm so small and short. If I was in a pit, I would die.
Yeah, those pits aren't nice.
Yeah,
no.
I'd definitely have to be sat down for it.
Drew and I have reached the age where we like to stand at the back.
You know what? I've always been like that. Yeah, it's really funny. Like, it's because I'm always like, where's the best sound going to be? Oh, at the sound desk, clearly, because that's where he's mixing it from. So you're going to get the best sonically. It's going to sound. I want to watch it. I don't want to get the shit being out of me. You know. So I've always been.
I mean, if it's a good gig, like I still want to go to the front, but I will stand at the back. Like when we went to see Andrew WK, which probably could be on my guilty pleasure as well, but we were just standing up, and it was cool because like we were at the back, like on the balcony, and yeah, there was space, and I was going absolutely nuts. My friend Jen, who's also a massive WK fan, the two of us were just like running up and down the aisles, like screaming, whatever. So it was kind of like a one or two person mosh pit. It was quite cool. No contact there, you know.
I remember that song coming out. You knew the words to every song. I was like blown away. I was like, that's commitment.
See, when I go to gigs, like because of my height, if I'm even second row, sometimes I won't see anything.
Oh,
so
no.
it's like it's front row or nothing for me.
Yeah, I can just stand there and be like, I'm the guy that people go, excuse me, can you get out of my way? I have to sort of pivot my way and find a bit where it's not too bad for the people behind, but I can see, and I'm usually alright.
Okay, so you've only got one single at the moment called I Wanna Know. You've mentioned that it's about breaking out of a cycle of behaviours that cause negative consequences. How's that been going? Have you succeeded in breaking out of them?
No.
Oh.
No, I think, like, you know, while being mysterious and vague, you know, if you are in that situation, as much as you kind of want to get out of cycles, sometimes you actually, it might take 2 or 3 repeats of the cycle to get out, you know. You might think you have the answer, and the course might change, and things are picking up, but, you know, you can quite easily get sucked back into your, you know, let's say your old habits or your weaknesses or whatever, and you know, you just constantly have to change your approach. I think it's something that people can relate to, you know, because it's kind of universal, and I think, generally speaking, in terms of all of the lyrical content and whatever, there's kind of so much like crazy stuff going on in the world always, and there's so many kind of like fractured perspectives. I always try and look at it like universal concepts that, you know, it doesn't matter kind of your background, it doesn't matter kind of what you're going through. You know, there are a million songs about like getting your heart broken by a girl or a boy or whatever. But you know what I mean? Maybe sometimes that doesn't appeal to everyone. So, you know, you kind of try and write about stuff that, you know, that might be, you know, making it in a band. It might be being in a relationship. It might be, you know, something to do with your career. And those are the kind of things that like I like to write about. And those are the kind of things that you talk about. So when you say like, you know, have you broken out the cycle? It's like, I might have done it in one aspect of my life. Yeah. But at the same time, you know, we get in these kind of situations all the time in various areas.
Yeah. I'm like that. It takes me maybe 2 or 3 mistakes before I realise it's a mistake, and then I sort my shit out with it.
I need 2 or 3. Well, I'm like a 5 or 6 person. What am I doing? I have to just have a pet talk with myself.
Yeah, I get that. You've also just released a demo version of a song called Fallen. Is this due to be your next single at all, or do you have other ones in the pipeline lined up for that?
No, I don't know. We just did that because it was a good idea to do. You know, we just thought, hey, let's do something like that, just to keep the videos up and keep it flowing.
Yeah.
It'll probably go on the album, re-recorded, but we've yet to have a discussion about what the next one's going to be and how we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're in kind of a situation where we've basically demoed an entire record.
Okay.
And we've been together on and off. Well, we've been together since 2016, or was it
something like that?
Before that. But life just seems to keep happening, and there was a period of time where I moved out of the country. Our original bass player, he was from Brazil. He had to move back to Brazil. So there were kind of a few kind of obstacles that
kept the motor going,
and then Drew was doing Inglorious, which was a great opportunity for him. But I think I don't want to speak for you, Drew, but it was always like your intention to kind of this is kind of your baby band, as opposed to a band you're in. So we've kind of got now like a demoed album, and pre-COVID-19 it was like, right, we're going to get into the studio, hammer this out, and this is the year that we get all this material finally out there. Yeah. I think actually there's benefit to it because I think we have a much stronger record now. Your first record should always be it's the record of your life. You've had all the time in the world to put it together.
Yeah.
And I think it's when it finally gets recorded and comes out, I think it will be a pretty strong body of work, and I think it will be worth the wait. But yeah, we just kind of wanted to get some momentum going before we get into the studio and finish the record.
Yeah.
Just get people sort of talking about it, and it's like, I was we were a bit kind of hesitant at first to sort of put it out because it's always that thing like, well, we haven't got the rest of the album done yet, we need to go in and do it. But, we sort of got a great PR guy, and he said, no, man, just whack it out. And, he was right, he was just like, just do that. And I'm glad we did, because it's had a great response, which kind of leads people into kind of wanting to hear more, which is, it's just about getting in and doing it.
Especially now that people don't really have any distractions at the moment, now that not really people are really able to work. And something I've been saying is I'm quite old school in the way I listen to music. Like, I will only buy albums.
Good.
And I will listen to it from start to finish. So,
Good.
But most of my mates, they will listen to Spotify, they'll only know one song of a band, they won't bother listening to anything else, and they'll probably forget about it the week after as well. So, in terms of the situation we're in now's probably the best time to be able to push your music, because people have more time to listen to it and actually fucking pay attention.
We can sort of just focus on it. We're not worried about we got to play gigs and stuff like that as well. We can just literally write and focus, and we're still writing now, so there may be songs that will go on there that we haven't written yet, that we're, go back to Rod's statement about, he was saying, you get excited about each new song, so you've got to be careful. You've still got to kind of be open to the ones that you've done before and make sure it all kind of works together. But I think we'll have quite a wealth of material by the time we go to the studio.
How many bands release a debut double album?
Yeah.
True.
Because that might be something to consider.
Yeah, possibly.
The new Use Your Illusions.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, I would like to get in the studio by, if we can, October. And there's no reason why we can't hammer it out in a couple of weeks. that's the plan, but only if we can. You know, it depends on the lockdown situation.
You can manage social distancing in studios, right?
Well, yeah. The only way to do it would be like a couple of us. So it would just be like me and then the
whoever wants to go, really.
whoever can be bothered to turn up.
Yeah.
No. It'll be great. Like, I'm really excited, and it's like this bit. It's just more a bit frustrating because it's kind of like, oh, the record's it's kind of there. It is there actually. It's not kind of there. It's there. It just needs recording.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I read somewhere that Dave Draper, who worked with the Wild Hearts and Fort Hope, are also working with you on your stuff. Is that right?
Yeah. So he mixed and produced it. The I Want to Know song. Okay. And he'll do the record as well.
Yeah. So with that song in particular, what kind of effect do you think he's had on the sound of that compared to if you hadn't?
Oh yeah, totally. Well, first when you're looking for a producer, you got to make sure he gets it first and foremost. Which you'd be surprised how many people don't necessarily. You know, regardless of what genre you're in. Like when you're looking for a producer, you're kind of looking for essentially a extra. It's like the fifth wheel, isn't it? Like the extra member. He's gonna. He brought in, especially if I Want to Know. It was just he didn't like change it massively, but he just kind of just sonically he sort of can hear where you're going, and and
he's a really great motivator as well. Like he's a really funny guy. He loves his kind of like comedy quotes as well, as do I. So we had a good exchange in some kind of like quotable banter. But like he just focuses you on getting your takes done right. You know. I think what's really great about it. I'm trying to think. There were a couple of tweaks here and there. I think rhythmically there were a few suggestions he had, which I think worked out pretty well. If I remember correctly,
drum stuff wasn't there. It was like
it was a really little tweak on the drums, but it made a huge difference.
Made all the difference.
I really enjoyed doing vocals with him. He knows how. Well, I think sometimes you work with people and they have their process of recording. Yeah. Whereas I think with Dave and with other kind of like producers that I've enjoyed working with, they kind of they get your input on how you feel comfortable and getting they ask you how you feel you're going to get your best performance, and then they kind of kind of motivate you to do the best performance you can do. Whereas sometimes you can go in with somebody and like I've done in the past in previous bands where you're kind of maybe a bit overawed by this producer you're with because the reputation or whatever, and after you finish recording the track you're kind of like, oh well, I never felt comfortable during that process, and has that led now to the best performance I could do? Whereas with Dave it's very much like it's a really, really good relationship. It's really clicked really quickly, and I mean I remember doing the vocals, like I just spanked that out.
Yeah, I know you did. I went to get a coffee. I missed the whole thing. Oh, okay, you done? Oh, okay, sorry.
So your sound has also been described as sounding very Stone Temple Pilots-y. I thought Velvet Revolver, and then I realised they're basically the same things. But
yeah,
it's not the same.
It's not the same, but it is the same.
Yeah, you know what I mean. But so what are your individual influences like musically?
Oh God.
Like in regards to how you play your instruments or your vocals?
I mean, it goes back to, for me personally, so I grew up with I've got an older brother, so, everything was changing, and it was sort of early 90s, going into the 90s, going into 2000s, so everything from, like you say, Bon Jovi originally, and then, those types of bands, like I look at your picture in the, you got the GNR Appetite.
I've got it everywhere.
That album is just. I'm not saying it's like, I don't listen to it or anything, but it's just. How can one album just be so it's just bonkers, isn't it? How it's like carried across their records, you know. But anyway, sorry. And then, you know, so a lot of that type of guitar playing stuff. And then as it got to the 90s, and I started to sort of find my own feet a bit in the sort of later 90s, you know, I got into more kind of bands like Incubus and Silverchair, and a bit more of I love Deftones, I like Tool, I like heavy stuff, but and STP, you know, having the older brother through the 90s being like, I mean, these types, I like bands that are like diverse, like every album it's not repeated itself. Yeah. I don't know what you're going to get with some of those bands, you know. An STP album can be really heavy, or it can be just like a bossa nova, you know, and that was appealing to me, you know, like every sort of genre. You know, I mean, Rod loves his punk music, but he's like loves Kiss, you know. That's why me and Rod kind of bond, and our Kiss love it.
Hottest band in the world, my friend.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, the concept of it is just, it's incredible.
Have fun, be yourself, don't give a fuck about anyone.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly.
It's wholesome.
It's kind of punk in a way, isn't it? You know, I know it sounds silly. Foo Fighters definitely, you know, everyone loves, maybe not, you know, like all that kind of stuff. So, I mean, I could just go on. I'm probably missing bands now, like obscure bands that I love. Faith No More, you know, Rod's massive into Faith No More.
Yeah, Faith No More are a really big one for me. I mean, like Green Day, when I was a little kid, I wanted to be Billy Joe Armstrong.
Yeah.
You know, so there was kind of that kind of get you in. But once you kind of look at the kind of singers and the things that you like, you know, yeah, Faith No More, Mike Patton, it's definitely up there. Wieland, you know, STP and with Velvet Revolver. You know, I think there are elements of my voice that are quite similar in that sort of style. Yeah. But then
someone said to me once, "Oh, we sound like James Addiction." I was like, "Cool."
I was going to say Perry Farrell is another one, like Nega, James Addiction.
Love James. Like, it's brilliant. Yeah.
And then yeah, you know, I guess I you know, I really love The Cure. I think Robert Smith's got a very interesting take on things. And you know, other vocalists, Darryl Palumbo from Glassjaw and Head Automatica. I think he's fantastic. Like, I think he does so much. And I don't want to mispronounce his name, but the dude from Refused, who's in International Noise Conspiracy. Yeah, I think those are kind of, to me, those are kind of like the big kind of influences. You know, you talk about you talk about like Guns N' Roses and Appetite for Destruction just being like the kind of album that, you know, almost like when you listen to it, you know, if like aliens came and they said what is rock music,
you'd show them that album.
Rather than put the greatest hits, I could literally just give them Appetite for Destruction and go, it's this.
Appetite for Destruction is the greatest hit.
Yeah.
You know, and in a way, just to come to tangent, you know, when Refused came out with The Shape of Punk to Come, like, that was like, if you wanted like a punk hardcore album, that's what I'd give to Aliens. It's just like, listen to this. You don't need to listen to anything else. But yeah. And also the Smiths, for some reason. I got to this age for about 16, and it was just like, don't listen to anything else but the Smiths for like 6 months. Brilliant.
I do that.
Roll with the Smiths.
I'll grab hold of a band and I will literally become obsessed. Like, I'll listen from everything from start to finish, the entire discography. For some reason, I have a thing with reading Wikipedia pages, and that all just like stays in my mind. I was shit with schoolwork, but I can remember everything about any band I've ever been into.
Yeah, I like going on the discographies and looking at the charting and like the certifications they get. I find it really interesting. You know, I find it like, you know, like Maiden have had a #1 single.
Yeah.
Like, dude, that's amazing.
I remember.
What's it?
Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter.
Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter, yeah.
First Iron Maiden song I ever heard.
You know what I found out about Maiden was that they sold out 4 nights at Long Beach Arena with no radio play. I was like, that's pretty good.
That's why Iron
like,
Maiden are amazing.
Word of mouth, like, you know, just the spread of like, check out this band, they're amazing, you know. Yeah.
Do you know
that's pretty good.
Do you know what's so sad? I should be seeing Iron Maiden tomorrow at Download Festival.
Oh no.
Oh man, was that tomorrow, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what? Like, I probably should keep up with all this kind of stuff.
because like Donington's quite close to where I live, and I've seen so many. There's some really cool kind of like download merch that came out. There was like a really good kind of like, it's a download T-shirt, and on the back they've got a lineup, and it's all like different kind of key workers, like written by the bands, which is pretty cool. And then there was another one that was like a download RIP 2020 T-shirt, which was pretty cool. But there's definitely a load of people like in the local area that would have been going to download, because it's kind of the local festival.
Yeah.
Most people like will go to download because it's not that far in the car to go. Yeah. And I just want to say I was lucky enough in my first band I played the inaugural download.
Nice.
So yeah, it was mental, and Metallica just turned up in a helicopter and played the second stage in the middle of the day. That was epic.
That takes some balls.
Yeah, and it was really funny. Well, it was really bad as well, because Evanescence playing on the main stage, and I've seen like the TV afterwards, and as they're playing, it pans out onto the crowd, and there are just people running away. Like, could you imagine how bad that would be? Like, you're playing and you just see people running, and then why are they running? Oh, it's because Metallica. They're gonna fucking rock out for 45 minutes. That was pretty awesome. But the band afterwards that played, a really good German band called Beatsteaks, who I love, and they went from a full tent, like not a full tent, like a tent that was over capacity, people were charging to get in. Yeah. When they played, they must have played to like 100 people, because everybody was just run out on the phone. You cannot guess who I just saw. I fucking saw Metallica, and this is the crazy thing about Metallica, isn't it? Like, that tent probably held 10,000 people, but that's an intimate gig.
One of my last questions. The name of your band, tell me a bit about that, Just a Ride.
Rod named it.
I'm really into my comedy, and one of my favourite stand-up comedians is the late great Bill Hicks, and Just a Ride is a reference to his kind of famous closing bit where he's essentially saying that your life is just a ride. That there are things that you think about in your life that you think are important, but at the end of it, when you're going to die, who cares? It was just a ride, Yeah. And I always thought it was, I really like comedy that goes, or comedians that kind of go beyond just telling jokes. I mean, I love like one-line comedy. I think it's great and all, but I think Bill Hicks was it's almost like he has ideas that he's trying to get across, and they just happen to be funny. I think there are, I think today, active at the moment, probably Dave Chappelle is, up there with Hicks. Yeah. Comedians that kind of make you think a bit. We don't necessarily want to do. I don't necessarily have a goal of doing that with Just a Right to Music, but I think paying kind of homage to kind of that idea was kind of nice, and I don't know, it kind of rolls relatively well, and it chaunts a jar. So
does chaunt a jar.
Yeah. I noticed that as well.
Yeah. We should get T-shirts with just jars on them.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a bit too far.
So you have just released some merchandise as well with just the logo on it. Again, speaking about merchandise, do you have any other ideas of what you might want to put on T-shirt designs in the future?
Yes. Roller coaster. So obviously, just right, it's like a roller coaster. So we're working on some designs at the moment with, I kind of envisage it as an old school kind of fairground roller coaster, that kind of thing. If we can incorporate, and I think what's cool is JAR kind of would look a little bit like a roller coaster.
Okay.
So, those are the kind of things. You can have a lot of fun designing T-shirts as well.
I don't know. We have to think about the album cover and all that. Maybe we could do something like that. Like John was saying, I thought it was quite a good idea actually. He's saying about the DNA thing. So it was like a DNA roller coaster. But I don't know.
Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Yeah.
With the roller coaster, you might want to try and not make it look like Inglorious's Ride to Nowhere.
Yeah, that's probably not. Yeah, ridiculous. I was like, I think it's like Rob on the roller coaster. I like the way our logo came out on the like the one that's on the t-shirt. You know, the initial one, which is great. You know, that's a friend of mine designed that. He's called Andrea, and he sort of he's designed all the logos really. So far. It'd be nice if he does the album cover, you know. And actually, like, I was talking about it as well, like saying, you know, one of my favourite record covers at the moment, like current record covers, is Frank Carter and the Rattlesnakes. I love it because it's just yellow and blue. I would buy that album alone just on that record, on that cover. There's no logo.
How many records have you bought just for the album cover?
That's a really good question. And right now I don't have the answer. But it's a good question, and it's food for thought on that, because, you know, we're certainly in a time where we're not really selling any albums, are we, and things like that. So it's like, you've got to think of other ways to promote your stuff and t-shirts.
Do you know what I always liked? There was a Bloodhound Gang record, which had the Bloodhound Gang album, which printed on a CD. It said, like, who's dumb, smelly, and likes the Bloodhound Gang? Turn over for the answer. And you put that over and see your reflection. What
was the one Steal This Album? What was that one?
Steal This Album? Oh, that was System of a Down, wasn't it?
System of a Down, Steal This Album, yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Oh, sorry, go for it.
Sorry, I was just saying, like, with our single, I like it because it's red. It's not like... It stands, like, when you put it on Spotify, because everything's dark and dreary and gloomy, it just goes, and it's just red, isn't it? So, I don't know if you notice that.
Problem is, when you just do album covers that colours, it's like Weezer now, they're getting onto like the teal album, you know, because there's only so many colours you can use.
That's true, it doesn't mean every album has to be like that. I mean, Metallica did the best one, it's just Black Album.
Yeah. I've got my CD collection, it's got cards on it at the moment. I don't know if you can see that. My CD collection. But
it's good you've got a CD collection.
Yeah, like the whole shelf. But most of it, it's all black. But that's okay.
I just signed up to Spotify recently, just for the band. You know, I just had to, because just to set it all up, and I'm just like, but I try not to use it. I'm trying to use it as like I like that album. I'm going to go and buy it. You know, that's
like I'll use the internet to listen to an album first, and if I like it, which 9 times out of 10 I do, I'll physically buy it because I will listen to it forever. And like it
vinyls are up at the moment.
Yeah, but like
the thing is, it's collectability as well. Like
totally.
Yeah.
You've got it in your hand. You're like, whatever it is. You know.
And like the sleeve liners and stuff like this. Like back in the day, like you used to get a great album.
Have you had a look at the?
Look at it. It's fucking awesome.
Have you had a look at the Iron Maiden Somewhere in Time album sleeve? The amount of things you can find on it. It's got like references to 666, to West Ham Football Club. It's got like a flight of you can stare at it for hours.
I love all that sort of stuff, you know.
Maiden record covers are amazing. Derek Riggs, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Are amazing. Like the Power Slave one, the Egyptian one. I mean, again, it goes back to just, I would buy Power Slave, you know, whereas an Iron Maiden record alone on its album cover. Because it's just, you know, regardless if you heard the music or not, I think if you can create something that strong, that it's like that, why not? You know?
I think it was a great album cover. Do you remember Worship and Tribute, Glassjaw record?
That was amazing. What with the
so it was just like a clear CD, and it just had like the arm of like a vinyl player, and the CD itself looked like a record.
Okay, that's cool. It freaks me out with things like Spotify and Apple Music, because like if those two things ever disappear, all your music disappears with it. Like, at least my CDs are mine forever.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? You can't fit. It's not. It's going to be a forever battle, isn't it? At the end of the day, until things get kind of legislated or whatever it is, you know, like properly.
Yeah.
I think the battle is being lost.
Well, yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're exactly right. But it is.
Lost it and win.
Like, sorry, can I just ask your age? Like, how old are you?
22.
You know what? As a 22-year-old, and you're saying that you buy records, and you're speaking like someone who, you know, your generation.
Yeah.
Not a CD generation. You know, you're from Spotify and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool that you know there is still young people buying it.
I think with me as well, like a big thing about it is the fact I'm into metal, like especially metal as not really a cult, but it's like there's something more special about metal and buying CDs. Like I interviewed the drummer from Black Stone Cherry a few years ago, and we were talking about the album cover of their album back then, which was Kentucky, and on it was the house where they grew up and where they created all their music. And, you know, that was only a few years ago. And that means something to them. Like, they've taken the time to think through that album cover, which I don't think any other genre really does. Whereas, like, metal's definitely more like, this is mine. This is, like, where I belong.
Yeah. We should do something like that. I mean, literally, we haven't really. It's all everything's up for grabs at the moment. You know, in terms of that, you know, it's a really exciting time. Really, just we're writing. It's a very creative time, so we can get a bit creative with the album cover and sort of see who comes back to us. You know, with some stuff.
You should do like a full-on jam jar on a roller coaster.
That's a good idea.
Well, let's change to a jam jar one.
Or a roller coaster in a jam jar.
Even better.
Yeah, conceptual.
Like, what could that mean?
Yeah, I think we're going. I don't know.
I quite like that. I think that's pretty cool. It kind of reminds me, like, you know, the end of Men in Black, the first one, where like the whole universe is just in like a marble that these like huge beings are just like children just playing marbles with. So,
that's a good idea.
It's just a ride, and you're just in a jar.
Just in a jar. Just a jar.
You just need to break out of your jar. You know, experience the real world.
I like that. You've got to use that now.
Yeah, I think so. Or at least on a t-shirt.
Yeah.
Well,
At the very least.
It comes down to kind of, we got to think of some, because at the moment we've got like the basic kind of t-shirts up at the moment, but there'll be a point where we're like, oh, we need to think of something like just different ideas, you know, that we can sell.
Yeah. Do you know what annoys me as well about t-shirts? Like when you get male and female t-shirts, but the designs are different. Like I only tend to wear male shirts because all the female ones have more feminine designs on it. But like I listen to metal because of like the masculinity side of it. Like I don't want a pink t-shirt with a feminine design on it. Like I like the metal ones.
Yeah, I agree. Like that's why I've just done the women's ones exactly the same as the blokes ones. Like just black and white with the logo rather than complicating everything. Like here's a pink version. Like, you know. Well,
yeah.
Get a pink version for guys. Come on.
You could get a pink version for guys.
Yeah, you could do.
It's masculine colour in Italy, I tell you. I've been to the... No, seriously, we were on holiday once and they were having this pink festival and it's just like the whole town is pink. And it's like a really kind of like... If you notice, like you watch Italian football, a lot of teams have pink away kits. It's just not seen as a feminine colour as much.
What? Yeah, I mean, I like black. It goes with everything.
Yeah, stunning as well.
Black jeans works with everything. You know, going like, you know, blue denim, you're like, ooh. On top of
Dude, you know, I was gonna say you're wearing and I've got blue denim jeans on.
Oh no, never done it.
You know what? I usually like I have a black t-shirt with grey jeans. I don't know. There's something about blue and black that's just a bit weird. Blue and white goes well. I like grey. Grey is my favourite. Like
Grey's
if a
good.
band has a grey t-shirt. Grey is a colour. Just boom.
Maybe I should do a grey run.
I was going to say.
Or maybe we get some grey ones just for you, just so you can be a bit different.
They're out there,
Yeah, my whole...
Would you go grey and black logo?
Yeah, probably. Grey and white is good, but it's kind of more subtle. But you kind of, you know, we're not at the stage in our career where we want to have subtle designs. You want to be like,
straight to the point.
everyone look at us.
Yeah.
You know?
My entire wardrobe is just white, black, grey. Okay, so I've got one last question. Are there any new up-and-coming bands that you guys have been listening to that you think other people should go and check out? Apart from Just the Ride.
Oh, good question. I tell you what, I'm quite friendly with this singer, and I love his album. It's called the Rocket Dogs.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of them.
Yeah, Nicky. His album is amazing.
Okay.
Like, amazing. And he's bothered to kind of go in and spend a lot of money and produce an incredible piece of work, actually. And I bought it on vinyl. It comes in on pink vinyl. It's awesome. I was well impressed. I was like, wow, it's like pink splatter. That's my most recent new, if you want to call it new. I'm actually kind of in the same ilk purchase. But in terms of like new bands that are like exploding or anything like that, no, not really. I can't. I'm not.
I'm quite old and miserable.
Yeah,
I've kind of gone. I don't know. I do need to listen to my new bands.
Because when I was in the other bands, I used to play with a lot of these bands in like Planet Rock stops and things like that.
Yeah.
Used to try and sort of have a look, have a nose around, really, but there was no one really that kind of.
I'll tell you how big Mike Gray. Listen to Mike Gray. He's done a record.
The Grey Chapter, that one.
Yeah, and he's recording a new record at the moment. He's like an awesome guitar player. He's branching out now to singing. He has a single out on Planet Rock called Shout, which is doing really, really well. I went to see a band, and this will probably date me, and I'll be old. I don't know, but I would consider them to be pretty new. We went to a band called Petrol Girls.
Okay.
It was a pretty cool gig, pretty awesome. Really good performance. Kind of like, I don't know, kind of like if Paramore were hard hitting.
Okay.
The tunes were cool. Like, I like the music. I can't remember the front woman's name, but she was like on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
She was a good front person. See, this is 2020.
Politically correct.
It's a good question though, and it's one that I ask myself a lot. And it is like, what is out there? What's new? I don't know. You tell me. Like, what is anything that's kind of grabbing your ear?
Well, I mean, like, John's turned me on to quite a lot of bands that I've been interviewing. There's a band I went to see live last year called At the Sun.
Yeah, I recognise the name.
Yeah, they've been like, I'm a lot more like classic rock, little bit harder end kind of things that I like. So they kind of mix Blackstone Cherry and Guns N' Roses kind of vibes for me.
Like that side of it, okay, yeah. That's fair enough.
I've not been expected to ask this question to myself.
Yeah, because like, with our music, I've we're sort of leaning towards the alternative kind of sides. You still got like elements of just rock.
Yeah.
When I say alternative, it's not like obscure. Like it's just a bit. It's trying to keep the edgy.
I mean, there's still 3.5-minute pop rock songs essentially.
Yeah.
3.5-minute pop songs.
But I mean, like, because like Guns N' Roses is my favourite all-time band. So after them, obviously, I got into like Slash's solo stuff and Duff's solo stuff. And obviously,
I love Miles. I think it's amazing. I think
so good.
I think Miles Kennedy is like one of the best singers like in the planet. He's incredible.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
But I mean, like, and obviously, I got into Velvet Revolver as well, and then through Velvet Revolver, really realised there was a band called Stone Temple Pilots. So obviously, like, those things I've been into as well. So you guys, the single you've got out so far, definitely tickles my taste buds so far.
Like with Rod's voice, what I love about Rod's voice, it's got character. It's not being all like 4 octaves or anything, but it's.
You know what?
Sorry, no.
Something just came in my head when you guys were talking, and like going back to a question about like which singers and blah blah blah. How have I not spoken about Chris Cornell? Like, what's wrong? What's wrong with you?
R.I.P.
Dude, yeah, man. I mean,
to me, that is the ultimate singers, but in in an alternative rock. I mean, why sound got an alternative rock? I don't know. I guess at the time, but it's kind of billed as classic rock now, isn't it? I suppose, but it was alternative at the time because it was kind of like the Seattle movement, you know. Yeah. But like what I love about Whelan's voice and saying that, you know, with Rod's voice, is that it's just got character. It can go so many ways. Yeah. And that's what suits the song. You know, that's what suits us. That's what makes. I did it for the first time the other day, like where I tried to sing some melodies. I think you did a good job there. Well, Melodyne is great for that. The pop industry. Yeah. And but Rod will just. I'm always a bit hesitant to do it because I want Rod to just. He hears it in such a different way. Yeah. And hears it for the better, you know, like, and I kind of don't want to influence that, you know, and I feel, you know, that's why I was a bit hesitant. I was a bit like, oh, maybe I shouldn't, you know, it's just what I had in my head, like, maybe. Because I think maybe I just sing probably a bit generic, where Rod would sort of go, oh, just do it this way and hear it like that. And it's like, oh, yeah, why don't I? You say it's the end. How could I believe that it wasn't